Thank you for tuning in. We're here now with Dr. Linda Rozier, who's the International Executive Director of the Chaplain's ministry, the United Chaplain International Worldwide Outreach, which I am a fond member of as well. Yes. And certainly we're very happy that you're here. I have often shared with individuals that I am a recovering chaplain. And in many instances, there are a number of you who are out there who we know need to really reestablish yourselves. And we're certainly in open arms welcoming you and hoping that you will take an interest in what we're going to talk about today in relationship to how important you are to this organization. And for those of you who are willing and interested in becoming a part of our organization, we certainly are delighted to know that you will participate in the outreach effort that we're making today. Thank you very much, Dr. Rozier, for participating with me in this segment of our broadcast. Certainly, quality of life and developing areas in which we really need to focus on helping individuals who are hurting, who need to be healed. The established relationship with the chaplain's ministry began with a relationship between you and your husband.
Yes.
And, Pastor Rozier was someone that I was very fond of, and we know that he is in a better place now. Because we have to realize the fact that all of us have to have a transition period in our lives.
Yes.
And I think that that is the encouragement behind the chaplain's ministry in regard to helping individuals overcome those obstacles, especially when it comes to situations where, it's tragic or whatever the circumstances may be, but looking at what type of resources that can be available. And also equipping individuals who want to be a part of helping others.
Absolutely.
We'd like to really encourage a lot of people to know what's going on with the ministry. Why don't you talk about a little bit of the history? What actually gave you and your husband the inspiration to start it?
Well, it began many years ago. As you know, my background is nursing, and my specialty is critical care and trauma. And oftentimes, when the hospital chaplain was not available, they would call me because they knew that I was, a clergywoman. So I wanted to be able to minister to those who were beyond my religious persuasion, because after all, we've had coming into the emergency room, we have different cultures and different religious persuasions, and I didn't want to offend anyone, but I also wanted to be a blessing as far as lifting their spirits, because whenever they say whenever you are ripe to receive spiritual advice, that's when you're in an acute situation, and that's when in the hospital. So my best friend, my wonderful husband, whom I'm missing so much, it's been some time now, been over a year, we would also minister in the shelters, because I was the nursing supervisor controlling 3 different on-site medical clinics. So we had the opportunity to help heal a lot of hurting hearts.
Wow. And the mission itself just began to blossom.
Yes.
What created the organizational structure?
Well, we started out helping ministers, pastors, bishops, evangelists, help them be able to minister beyond their own religious persuasion. Because, as you know, a lot of institutions, they don't accept proselytizing. And this way...
Excuse me, can you share exactly what that means?
Okay, proselytizing. Well, that's more or less, to sum it up, pushing your own religious beliefs.
Okay.
And I've often had the experience of someone, people trying to push their own religious beliefs on me, especially when I was immobilized in a hospital bed, and had no other, resources at that particular time for someone to minister to me regarding what I believe. And that's very important. To actually, the chaplaincy is to build bridges. Every religion, every persuasion encompasses love, encompasses a higher power, encompasses faith and hope. So the chaplains, we build that bridge that will contain and release all of that to those who are in need.
Caring is also important, and knowing how to be able to approach a circumstance.
Yes.
Because everyone, mentally in some capacities, don't have the same type of resources. The chaplaincy itself really equips you with skills to know how to identify those particular areas,
Yes.
so that you can approach an individual in a correct manner.
Yes.
The relationship of it, though, also is that you don't really have to be a minister to be a part of the organization. Share with us exactly how does that really work within the opportunity for individuals to get involved.
Okay. Well, there's at least two different paths. You have the what they would call the professional chaplain, that path, whereas the individual seeking to obtain a career, a profession, a salary in the chaplaincy ministry. Then you have the other path that, like myself, we're looking to do it on a volunteer basis. I believe that as soon as you start walking, you ought to be able to volunteer your services and help somebody. So that's a path where we have a lot of different professionals within the organization, registered nurses, attorneys, you name it. They're social workers. We have it. So therefore, we're able to tap into a lot of different resources. United Chaplain has a lot to offer.
Looking at it in that regard, now let me break it down. When you talk about an individual who is involved with professional chaplaincy, does that obviously mean that they are getting some type of compensation for it?
Yes, yes.
And how is that a part of the relationship that you provide?
Well, there's a lot more involved with the chaplain, with the professional chaplain. Right off the top of my head, I don't know the article number, but there's, as far as the education, the academia, it's much more involved. The volunteer chaplain or the chaplain assistant, that's a different path, whereas the individual, basically volunteers their time. Many of our chaplains who volunteer their times, they're not looking to pursue the pathway of the career or professional chaplain who's looking to obtain a salary, because they're already gainfully employed.
Okay.
And many of our professionals within the organization, their salaries are much more than a chaplain would make in a hospital setting.
And you mean in terms of whether or not an individual is appointed to a board, or if even in as much they create a ministry from it and use it as a vehicle that they can do outreach and look at other alternatives within the confines. Because being a chaplain is a professional characteristic.
Oh, absolutely.
There is a real qualification.
Absolutely.
And a level of decorum. Why don't we talk about the kind of discipline that's necessary for an individual to get involved?
Well, you have to be, number one, rooted and grounded in the faith.
Okay.
Whether it's with Church of God in Christ, Church of the Living God, or Baptist, Methodist, Episcopalian, you name it, as far as the
You must have some interest in believing in one God.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think that's where the confusion comes a lot of times, even with the Masons and a lot of sororities and fraternities. that they do incorporate a true religious aspect of wanting people to focus on the relationship of one God, because there are Muslims that are part of the chaplaincy as well.
Absolutely.
So it's not a really, like you
And
said again, to
rabbis.
enforce upon, right?
Yes.
To enforce upon a specific religion, but there has to be an understanding that there is one God.
Amen.
And in that relationship, there are other characteristics in terms of care. Now, I know that we've had some training with individuals that are professionally certified, and we receive certification from that. How does the program actually work? Let's start with the beginning. When a person applies, they pay the application registration, and then they go to a class. What is it that they are going to expect when they go through that process?
Okay, before we go to that question, I just would like to reiterate that as chaplains, we are to accept people who don't have any religious background at all.
Oh, really?
No, as far as...
Why would they want to be a chaplain if they don't have...
I'm saying as far as the individuals that we minister to.
As far as the individuals...
Because there may be
True.
some that have no religious persuasion who don't believe in God.
I mean, in terms of we're not separating ourselves from helping people by virtue of the fact that they don't have a belief.
Right.
But we do have a relationship with a belief in our profession.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
yes.
Okay. And we want to clarify that to make sure that people understand that whether you're homosexual, whether you don't have an understanding of what God is, if you don't want to believe who God is, the relationship of ministry is still important with our kind of conduct. So the relationship that an individual gets involved with to know how to approach these circumstances, how does it really work in our program?
Well, in our program, we, as far as the process, you would go to the office and fill out your application. There is a processing fee, and you have to present your credentials. You have to get your referral from your ecclesiastic leader.
Now, if you don't have one, are you limited?
Yes, you are.
You really
limited.
are. Okay.
You are limited because we can't have people just coming off the streets, not having any attachment or any covering.
Right.
To
and I'll tell you, it wasn't easy to get my pastor to sign off.
No.
I had to tell him and prove to him that I was really serious about wanting to do this before he even decided to give me the authorization. So it really is important that you have a caretaker.
Absolutely. We feel that, number one, it's important because if you have an attachment or a covering, that leader knows you better than us. Mm-hmm. So therefore, he or she would know your ability as far as being a chaplain because of the way you perform in your mosque, your church, your hall, wherever. So we, and it's clear, we wanted to make it clear that we're not taking away from that ministry.
I see.
So the pastor or the ecclesiastic leader or the imam knows that my member is going for training that's going to benefit this organization. It's going to benefit the church. Who's going to benefit that house of worship or benefit that nonprofit or faith-based organization. So that's why we have the referrals and the clearances and the background checks,
right,
fingerprinting, the whole works, because our organization has been known to have maintained our sanctity and integrity for over the years, and we don't intend to stop now.
And there's a much needed effort for people to understand the access, because once you are given the certification and the authority to be able to go and help people, you're very well respected.
Yes, amen.
And it really characterizes the ability for you to have this kind of credential. Now, how involved are our graduates? What type of graduates do we really have?
Oh my goodness. Well, believe it or not, our graduates are so involved. We have a lot of different organizations who call upon United Chaplain. For example, the Red Cross calls upon United Chaplain. If there's a disaster, they'll call us. Although you won't hear that United Chaplain was involved, we're behind the scenes, but we're there. For example, the Salvation Army, especially during the holiday time when they're giving out food or clothing. United Chaplain, we're there supporting that ministry, but we're behind the scenes. So we do a lot, especially with the domestic violence. We have our chaplains are certified, they call them the DVT, domestic violence team.
Okay.
We just, run the gamut of ministry with chaplains in the juvenile justice system, with the mentoring, hospice, you name it, we're there.
The outreach ministry within itself is beginning to broaden. We are actually engaging in a relationship with our prison involvement.
Absolutely.
Why don't you share with us some information about that?
Okay, well, we've had a relationship with Department of Corrections for some time, and initiated maybe back in 2003. And what we do, they call it the one-on-one, where the chaplain goes into the facility, and 6 months prior to the inmate's release, I hope I'm saying, and I don't like saying
that.
that.
I know
okay.
what you mean, yeah.
Six months prior to the individual's release, they have this one-on-one relationship or training through our chaplain. So this way, he or she will have a smoother transition back into society.
Yes, which is really clearly important, and how it establishes itself so that individuals will know that they can have a resource that they can depend on. It. It's not going to be biased. It's really going to be helpful in relationship to dealing with them on a one-to-one basis. And the certification is so important, again, because we had to go through a second certification for that.
Yes.
And the privileges that are involved with those kinds of opportunities give you a lot of education that you become more prepared in working with people in terms of your outreach opportunities, especially it also, as we were sharing earlier, reinforces the relationship that you have with your church family. So it's always really important that people understand that the opportunity to get involved is much more than just giving you a badge and telling you to go out
That's right.
and do something with people.
Especially in a time like this where society, we are in a quote-unquote recession period. You have people who are unemployed, who are losing their homes, who are having difficulty. Right now, they need that mentoring. They need that assistance. They need that ear. They need that encouragement that everything is gonna be all right. It could be worse. I always say it's not a cardiac arrest. Whatever you're going through, it's not a cardiac arrest. Because when it's a cardiac arrest, sometimes it can turn fatal. So we're in a time where people need to be ministered to more than ever. So that's why we also have the substance abuse program, because people will try to medicate their emotions, be it alcoholism or substance abuse, drugs, prescription drugs. So people get caught up, because they don't want to feel the pain and the stress of what they're going through, the loss of income, not being able to take care of their families, having to do what they have never done before, perhaps wait on a food line, receive vouchers. We're in a critical time where we need to really help heal hurting hearts to the best of our ability.
Well, we're very happy that we can be able to share this information about the United Chaplains International Worldwide outreach organization. We certainly are looking for individuals to prepare themselves and get actively involved. If I wanted to participate, what must I do?
Our address is 361 Grove Street in Newark, New Jersey, and that's off of South Orange Avenue. The phone number is 973-371-0035. And Chaplain Mincy, she's
That's right.
our administrator.
And she was one of our honorees, and we're going to be looking for her because next year you're going to be one of our honorees because we want to be able to share with individuals about the opportunity that we have to raise awareness about relationships that are important for our communities. And the United Chaplains International certainly has been an inspiration for me and my family. And I know that we're going to be looking forward to continuing to strengthen the relationship in terms of building the opportunity for people to get actively involved with helping others. The classes are available to individuals who want to register. Registration certainly is still available. We want to make sure that you do qualify. If you call and you don't get answers, please feel free to log on to www.wecarepartners.com or call 855-525-2273, which is our toll-free number now. Okay, so we've been looking forward, and we'd like to thank you. We're going to be working together. We're going to do a few segments. I know you have a few ideas that you want to be able to put together some kind of visual for, and we want to look forward to helping you in that capacity as well.
Certainly, certainly. Our next class begins September 4th.
Okay.
Yes.
So you have time, and we certainly want to encourage you to get online right away and make sure that you get information about the next class and what you would have to have in order to be able to participate. We'd like to thank you very much.
Yes. And I'd like to plug in.
Sure.
You can check out our website.
Okay.
UnitedChaplain.org.
Okay.
That's UnitedChaplain.org. Check out our website.
Absolutely. Now, every Tuesday in September 4th and October 1st will be the next dates for the classes. So please get online right away.
And we have New York classes as well.
That's right. We didn't really talk too much about just how far the outreach actually goes. Just for one moment, why don't you tell us, why is it international?
Why? Well, first of all, our chaplains, they are international.
In what capacity? We can go anywhere?
And culturally, we have, we don't only have African American chaplains.
Well, what I'm asking is that, can I go to Philadelphia and still be recognized as a chaplain there?
Yes, you can. We are registered.
Okay.
We are a legit 5013C organization.
Okay, right.
Yes. So some of our chaplains have spread abroad, and matter of fact, we have a location in California on the West Coast. So when our chaplains relocate, they take the chaplaincy and start a branch wherever they relocate. So if they so if they relocate in Florida, or South Carolina, Puerto Rico, we're there.
They can still build a bridge with what we have established here in the East Coast. That's really
because
important.
Newark is headquarters.
Right. That's all amazing that we have the opportunity to expand in that capacity and looking at it from that perspective. You also have a, I think, the director, a local director. How does the hierarchy structure work?
Okay. We have our well, of course, we have our board members, executive board members, and then we have our state director. Then we have the assistant state directors.
Okay.
And then we have the directors of the different ministry departments.
Okay.
So that's how the hierarchy is.
Okay. All right. Well, definitely you'll have a chance to get in and get involved and become part of the leadership, sort of establish yourself, especially if you have skills and talents that you want to make part of an organization such as this. Once again, I'd like to thank you so much. There's so much that we can talk about, so much that we will talk about. We want to touch as much as we can and really give you the inspiration to want to participate and get involved. We appreciate you tuning in, and we look forward to seeing you again. Thank you very much.
And thank you. God bless you.
God bless you.